All right, this is the DuPage County Zoning Board of Appeals. We're here this evening for our August 13th meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. We have a new member, Mr. Gerard, has joined us this evening, so let's acknowledge his first appearance. Thank you very much. Welcome to the board. And I guess let's do a roll call since. See, we have. So, no, we're all present with Mr. Moran present by Zoom. And we don't need to approve that appearance by Zoom because no vote will be taken this evening. I'll indicate that there are no public comments to be heard at this meeting. Is that correct?
For the meeting portion.
For the meeting portion, right. And no minutes to be approved. So now I'll call our first case, which is zoning 24053 X site, the Lyle Township case. This is a request for rezoning from R2 to B2 General Business District. Then a conditional use for a planned development with a self-storage facility, daycare center, drive-through coffee shop with the following exceptions. Increase the FAR from the permitted 0.25 to approximately 0.66. Petitioner is represented by Mr. Lucahans. So I'll call upon Mr. Lucahans. First item is just identify your witnesses and let's have everybody sworn in.
Yes, Phil Lucahans on behalf of the applicant. I'm not sure if we'll have any other witnesses, but if so, it'll be Brett Paul.
Okay, would you both raise your hands and be sworn in?
You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give at this cause and out hearing be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Okay, we have comments from DuPage, we have comments from the health department, we have comments from the stormwater department. Sure, Mr. Lucahans is aware of them, and then I'll indicate for the record that we have two statements from I guess neighbors. The first is a letter from this email from Max Coolidge, be part of the record. And then a second from Debbie Janicki, which would be part of the record. Right, Mr. Lucahans, I'll turn it over to you. You can introduce your exhibits.
Yes, in front of you are a number of supplemental exhibits. The first is Exhibit 6. That's the updated site plan, and I'll go through these a little bit in a second. Exhibit 7 is the lighting plan. Exhibit 8 is the Illinois self-storage rental agreement. That's the CubeSmart rental agreement. Exhibit 9 are the rules and regulations for renting units in the building. Exhibit 10, I will call, you have in front of you a number of pages that are really including a sign layout and renderings of signs for the property. And Exhibit 11 I just handed out is the applicant's supplemental narrative. We'll kind of go through that real quick. At the last hearing, oh, go ahead, sorry.
This is styled as a new case. We have had, I guess, the same case before.
No, I don't think it is. I'll let Mr. Haas and Jessica talk, but it should not be.
Well, then why do you start with Exhibit 6 and there's no site plan and you just said at the last hearing?
Because there isn't this, I'm sorry, this is a continuation of a hearing from about 3 weeks ago. We admitted exhibits 1 through 5 at that time.
Okay, that's my point. You want to adopt the record from that hearing, even though this is styled as, I think, a new case, 53 X site. Mr. Haas?
This is a continuation of this continuation.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Second hearing.
all right, we'll treat it as a second continued hearing.
Yeah, at the last hearing, we continued it till tonight. You asked for certain supplemental information. That's really what exhibits 6 through 11 are. And then the other question that was raised, the major question, I think the major reason it was continued was because of wetlands, the possibility of wetlands on the property. We did a wetland delineation, ran it by the county stormwater. I think you now have an updated no comment letter from that they have no concerns from the county stormwater department as for wetlands. So we have not had to change the site plan at all. We've added additional information to the site plan, which I will talk about here in a second, but we have not had to modify any of the actual site plan or the building locations, etc.
Okay,
So, one of the other things you asked for was building dimensions and heights. If you look at exhibit 6, all those dimensions are shown. Storage facility is 13,900 square feet, with a building height of 29 feet. Drive-through coffee shop is only 675 square feet, with a building height of 19 feet. And the daycare center is the biggest building, contains 40,850 square feet of space, with a building height of 374 or 37. I think that's not correct. I'm sorry. The storage facility is, I did that backwards. The storage facility has a square foot of 40,500 square feet. And the daycare has the storage, or has 13,000 square feet. 13,600, I apologize. One of the other things that was asked were what were the daycare center hours and a number of people who would be at the daycare center. The hours for the daycare center are between 6 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Monday to Friday only. We expect approximately 160 preschool children to 35 staff members present per day. There will be no school age children. It's all whatever, 6 months to 4 or 5 years. Landscaping and fencing was another thing that was discussed. We've shown the landscape buffer on exhibit 6 as well. And the proposed fence locations are shown on that as well. There's a playground fence to be provided for the daycare, and a security fence will be constructed for the storage facility. Signage, if you look at again, exhibit 6 at the front, the only ground sign is that monument sign right by the entrance to the east of the right in, right out exit and entrance. That monument sign is honestly shown on pretty much the next to last page of exhibit 10. And it's just for the daycare facility. It does not have signage for the rest of the stuff is just on the building. Lighting, we now submitted a lighting plan that you requested. That's exhibit 7. As one of the major questions that I think the chair asked was whether there would be hazardous materials being stored on site in the storage facility. Exhibit 8 is the actual rental agreement, which refers to the form, which refers to the rules and regulations. So if you go to page 2, under terms and conditions, storage of personal property, it refers to rules and regulations. There's a website link. And then what we have is exhibit 9 for the rules and regulations. If you go to the bottom of page 1 on exhibit 9, one of the prohibited uses is to store or abandon hazardous materials in a cube, including without limitation substances that are toxic, reactive, volatile, flammable, explosive, hazardous, or corrosive, or that are at any time regulated by state, federal, or local authorities. I think that is the additional information that was requested at the last hearing. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them, but I don't think there was any more presentation we had except to answer your questions.
well, what I have from the stormwater department is a summary comment by the staff. Have you met with the stormwater department? Wetlands?
Yeah, the engineer did a wetland delineation, provided the stormwater. They came out and actually verified the delineation. And they have a no comment. I don't know what you have in front of you, but I know they have a no, actually quoted it in my thing.
I can read it.
No objections / concerns.
No objections with the concept of the petition. Additional information will be required at the time of permit application. The proposal will be on an IEPA public sewage disposal system and not on a septic system.
That's the health department, yes, and we will comply with that.
And stormwater in light of 9/8/24 on-site negative wetland findings by wetland staff that reside by CBA memo of the following. No objection with the concept. Additional information required at the time of the permit application. That's
So, yeah, we have met with them and that was the result of that meeting.
okay.
I have nothing further at this time.
Great. Any follow-up questions from any of the members of the board? Well, you've answered our questions. I guess we'll take, if any member of the audience wants to make public comment, please raise your hand. Okay, two, would you just keep your hands raised and be sworn in, please?
You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give at this cause and out hearing be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes.
Okay, step up and make your comments, please.
Sure.
You commented last time, so this should be, new materials related to the, information submitted tonight, is that right?
We will see. I'm no professional. I mean, if we're gonna go and change how things are, I mean, I'm not that great at sticking to that, but we'll see.
We certainly will. So let's start with your name and spell your name and give us your address.
Name is Max W. Coons II, address is 25 West, 2031, 75th Street, Naperville, Illinois, 60565.
All right.
Dash 1681 for those postal aficionados.
Okay, my point is, it's not necessary for you to repeat the comments that you gave last time. People are only entitled to speak once. You spoke last time, but I'll allow you to speak again this evening to address the additional information that was presented tonight, not to go over what you told us last time. Okay?
As I said, we shall see.
Well,
I certainly know-
what we shall see means, sir.
If I make a mistake, please don't come up here and freaking slap me on the wrist is what I'm getting at.
No, I'm not in.
All right?
I'm not into that.
I mean, can we please let me go? And if I do get out of line, then you can certainly say you can't speak about that. Okay, holy moly,
You got-
forgive me.
you
I'm
got-
sorry that we didn't find out right now that Mrs. Anderson wasn't here tonight. I didn't even hear anybody talk about that. Oh, I do know we had a new member,
Okay,
but what happened to her?
15 seconds into your 3 minutes.
Thank you for going into my time. But anyway. Yes, tonight I heard now for the first time that somehow public utilities are involved. I don't know exactly why we're sneaking around doing that, when in the last one, I could have sworn it was on well and septic. Because while I did have additional comment that I submitted that you spoke about, that is new, so I would like to be able to speak on that to some degree, because it certainly appears that if we're going to be going and rezoning, that is one big part of it. Is the allowability and who's doing what with the septic, who's doing what with the water, and how that's all being figured out in the first place, because that's a huge part of this process. I mean, if we're gonna have this area be rezoned, I would certainly think that maybe that would be the answer that would have been presented besides just the stormwater. So evidently, the well and the water usage is still being done on wells. This I'm unaware of. I didn't hear that tonight. Maybe I didn't listen to it. I'm not sure. But if the water supply to these facilities is going to be changed to the public, then maybe we should find out that information as well before we now make it to the next one. We have another new information hearing. Now, you certainly messed me up enough that any of my train of thought going further has been broken, stopped. So I will ask that I will be able to submit further comments to exactly what you have stated of what the gentleman has presented today to the board in a different email. Thank you for your time.
Okay, you'll be, I'll certainly permit you to submit additional information in writing. I'll give you a date at the end of the hearing when all information from any other source, including you, needs to be submitted. not able to do that at the moment because I don't know when the recommendation meeting will be for this basis yet. All right, thank you, sir. Next. And would you two give us your name and address, spell your last name?
Sure, my name is Bob Sudan, Soudan, 120 Glenwood, Hubbard Woods, Illinois, 60093.
Okay.
I'm gonna just repeat a couple things that I had mentioned last time for the benefit of the members who were not here. And I was start out real quick with a question because I keep hearing from the applicant that the self-storage building is 40,500 square feet. But by the FAR that I'm seeing, it seems like it is triple that size. So that my question, and I don't know if I address you guys or address the applicant, but my question is,
We'll ask Mr. Lucas to respond to that.
how big is the building? Is it 40,000 or 121?
When you're done with all your questions, he'll give answers at the end of his remarks, okay? Is that okay with you?
Fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough.
If there's anything that's critical that you need now, then just tell
No,
us.
no, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to get that clarified because it goes to the point of the FAR request of the magnitude of the FAR request here is massive. And so, you know, going from a residential to a B2 conditional use is a pretty large steps, and it goes against your written standards for conditional uses, which a conditional use has to cannot be in conflict with the county's comprehensive plan. Now, I believe you guys might have the ability to use that more as a guideline, but it's there for a reason, and I would hope that you wouldn't just completely ignore it, because this is major steps that are happening here. To go from residential to B2 to allowing a conditional use that doesn't meet with the comprehensive plan, then giving a massive FAR variance where they're at 520%. If you take the lot 3, which they have, they're at 520% of what the allowed FAR is, which is 0.25. They're about 1.33 something back at the envelope. So those are very big steps, and I would just hope that you take that in consideration. I mean, zoning is there for a reason. So to go from R1 to what these gentlemen are asking for, they're asking for, my opinion, moon. And that's a long way to go. And what's the point of zoning laws if they can try to ask for that much? It's just, I think it's a very large step. I own a self-storage facility in Naperville where we had to have much more restrictions than what they're asking for, indoor loading, etc. And you know, we're at 40% economic occupancy after 2 years of being open. So, and ours is a big facility, not as big as I think he's going to say. It's 121,000, not 40,000. But ours isn't that big, and we've got hundreds and hundreds of vacant units that are not being filled right now. So, do we need it? I don't know. And I also think that you got one shot to have better developments that produce more sales tax revenue, and self-storage doesn't really do that. And daycare doesn't really do that. So I think you're missing a chance. You know, whatever gets built here is going to be here for years and years. So I would just think twice about it.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
A lot of those comments are, there's some new information, but most of it was repetitive from your last remarks. Just
It was for the benefit of Mr. Gerald.
well, here's how that works. We all read the record in the case, so they'll get access to the transcript of the entire hearing. Okay. Okay, Mr. Wilkins, you want to wrap up and answer those questions, and then we'll conclude with the
Thank you.
recommendation here.
We have not changed the water or sewage at all versus what we brought to the first hearing. It will be a well with a public sewage disposal system. What the IEPA calls a public sewage disposal system as in the comments. Always known we were going to have to do that, and we will do that. But we have not changed the system at all since what the application was, hence why the health department comment was proposal will be on IEP and public sewage disposal system and not on a septic system. As far as the size of the building is approximately 40,000 square feet. Dimensions, it is 3 stories. That is why the FAR is what it is. And the FAR is 0.66, not 1.35, as what staff has confirmed that. So, as far as need, this is the second time we've heard about the need of storage facility or not. As you all know, that's not really a standard of the zoning. We're not here to decide whether that's for my clients, either risk or not risk. It's not really a standard that is in front of you. So at that point, we would just ask that you recommend to, at the time of your recommendation meeting, that you recommend that the conditional use be granted with the exception. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so I made a fuss about continued hearing, et cetera, at the beginning, just for the record. I think this is republished, so I think it's important that we know for the record that we adopt the record of the prior meeting.
This was not actually published.
Oh, it's not. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, well, because I got this new, oh no, it was originally published July 8th in the Daily Herald, and that's the same as indicated on my first sheet. So, okay, so I was confused about that, but we're good. Now let's determine, the recommendation hearing is going to be September 5 or 12, 5. Yeah. Okay, so we'll set this case for recommendation on September 5 at 5:30 and at number 3500 D. And we should have a cutoff for additional comments from this gentleman and any other written comments to be made part of the record by the close of business what's the date of the close of business 2 weeks before on Friday? Oh, there's Kellen.
Would be the 23rd of August.
Yeah. Let's make it Monday, just to give a little more time. Let's make it Monday, August 26th, at close of business. Comments, writing to the staff. That's it. Anything else from any of the members? All right, we'll close the hearing for this evening. Thanks very much.